Good afternoon or good morning, you West Coasters, and welcome to Food Processing's webinar, Improving Sanitation and Reducing Labor and Changeover Times with Dry Steam Cleaning Solutions. I'm Dave Fusaro, editor of Food Processing Magazine, and for starters, well, if you're hearing me, you apparently have no problem with the sound. But if you are having any problems hearing or viewing today's webcast, first refresh the screen, refresh your browser, or try to log out and log back in. And if you're still having trouble, explain your problem in that Ask a Question / Request Technical Assistance box, which should be the second one on the left of your screen, and one of our IT people will email you back immediately. Now, some other housekeeping issues. On your screen, you should see 5 sections. The upper left or audio section allows you to adjust the volume of this presentation. Just hover over one of our faces and you'll see the speaker button appear. Right below the audio section is the Ask a Question box, and that's where you can send a question that we will answer at the end of today's webcast. But at any time during the webcast, you can enter your question there. And I think at the far right of your screen is a 3-tab box, and one of those tabs is for handouts. In there, our sponsor, Goodway Technologies, has 5 handouts, 5 assets that you may wish to download. Now, you need a better view? You can enlarge the section by clicking on the box in the top right corner of the section next to the X, or by dragging the borders of a section, but don't hit the X. If you do accidentally close out a section, you can get it back by clicking the refresh button, which should be at the top of those light green icons on the left of your screen. And this webinar will be archived. We encourage you to direct coworkers to the recorded presentation on the foodprocessing.com website. Now, dry steam is not an oxymoron. Our webinar today is sponsored by Goodway Technologies, and their dry steam sanitation solutions harness the power of high temperature but low moisture superheated steam for cleaning surfaces, including food processing equipment and conveyor belts. This dry steam obliterates, as you might imagine, fats, grease, oils, dirt, seasonings, and it kills mold, mildew, viruses, bacteria, fungi, listeria, and microorganisms on contact. It leaves surfaces clean and perfectly prepared for final sanitation. And if you don't believe the claims about the process from Evan Reyes, Director of Sales for Goodway's Sanitation Division, maybe you'll believe a customer. David Culver, the face on your right, is Senior Manager of Global Sanitation for Hershey Company. And as the title implies, he is responsible for finding best practices and developing sanitation policies and guidelines for Hershey plants around the globe. So if he's speaking here, he must be quite a fan of dry steam. So with that, let me hand the mic over to Evan Reyes.
Dave, thanks so much for the introduction, and to everybody on the webinar, thanks so much for joining, spending some time with us today. So I'm really excited to talk to everyone about our dry steam cleaning solutions and different ways that they help the industry improve sanitation. So let's get started. Today we're going to cover the following topics. We'll start off with just a technical overview of how dry steam actually works. What is dry steam? Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. We'll start there, and then we'll discuss applications for using dry steam within food production facilities. I'll discuss how integrating dry steam cleaning into your sanitation programs can improve quality and food safety results, audit scores, while actually reducing cleaning times and labor involved in sanitation. I'll also look at how Hershey and Goodway collaborate to improve Hershey's sanitation results through the implementation of dry steam cleaning. And finally, we'll talk about how automation and dry steam conveyor belt cleaning can reduce labor and production downtime while increasing yields and profits. So we'll start off, what is dry steam? It doesn't really, how could steam be dry? It doesn't really make sense. So dry steam is really the scientific name for saturated steam that's been turned into a gas, into a vapor. So when we get it to 5% moisture content through superheating the boiler pressure and temperature, we compress the water and turn it into a gas, into a dry vapor. And that's what dry steam is called. It's called dry steam, but it's really more of a low moisture gas or vapor that we're using to clean. So it's 100% water vapor in the gas form. Vapor steam particles are tiny. They're very small, less than a thousandth of a micron, which allows them to penetrate into really tight cracks and crevices, as well as things like micropores on stainless steels and plastics. The dry steam will melt fats from the temperature, dissolve sugars right on contact, will kill mold and other microorganisms from the high temperature, and it also disperses breadcrumbs and other solids in the cleaning process. And of course, it's a very sustainable and safe technology to work with. The technology uses about 7 gallons per hour on the industrial size model and uses no chemicals. So it's very sustainable. We have no wastewater, and we could significantly reduce water use during sanitation in the right applications. So here's some of the applications we've identified just through trial and error the past 10 years in the food industry that really add value both in dry and wet environments. So starting off in dry environments, dry steam does a really phenomenal job cleaning water-sensitive machines, electrical components, where completely dry methods like brushing and scraping aren't thorough enough. For getting difficult to clean soils off, things like chocolate, oil, sugar buildup, things that are difficult to clean. Using a steamer in those applications really helps to get into those pieces of equipment, clean them faster, more thoroughly, while not damaging any of the water-sensitive components on them. Cleaning in hard-to-reach areas that can't be reached by hand tools, sandwich joints and niche areas that you just can't get to with your hands or with tools, steam can get in there, and even the tightest of sandwich joints can help blow soils out if they can't be disassembled. It's a tremendous tool for deep cleaning and periodic cleaning, both of equipment and environmental areas. We have a lot of customers as part of their master sanitation that'll use a steamer in a different area of the plant every week and just do a deep clean, clean all their framework, environmental areas, inside equipment, and all the disassembled areas. And then the next week, they'll just focus on a different area. And every week, they're just kind of cycling through the factory, and overall keeps the hygiene levels throughout the factory at a much higher standard. We could also really speed up cleaning times and efficiencies in all these applications. Not only does steam do a better job cleaning these areas, it does a much faster job. So that helps to reduce labor and time spent cleaning in specific applications. We also use steam to help remove allergens or help an allergen cleanup, especially in those dry areas where we can't do a full wash down or we need to avoid a full wash down. It's also fantastic for conveyor belt cleaning in dry environments. We're going to talk a lot more about that a little bit later. I'll skip over that for now. And cleaning any water-sensitive packaging machines, flow wrappers, baggers, weigh scales, anywhere where we really don't want to use too much water or damage any electronics, dry steam does a phenomenal job helping to improve sanitation in those applications. Also in areas where we want to limit the amount of moisture introduced into the environment in general, any manufacturing of dry ingredients or bakeries after the ovens or dry pet food or confectionaries, areas where we purposefully take the floor drains away because we don't want water or wet cleaning in those areas. Dry steam does an excellent job helping to kind of bridge the gap, and an excellent tool in the arsenal for your sanitation program. So it's not just for dry environments. One last thing, floor cleaning has been a very hot application for us, especially with the increased focus on environmental cleaning. The steamer with the floor spinner does a phenomenal job cleaning diamond-plated floors and epoxy floors that have a grit in them. Maybe the floor scrubber doesn't clean so well, getting oil and heavier buildup off of floors, even concrete floors. So a lot of great applications for using steam on floor cleaning. And then, of course, in wet environments, there's several benefits to using dry steam as well. For the same cleaning the water-sensitive machines, electrical components, things like control panels, those flow wrappers and packaging machines I mentioned, motors, conduit, doing deep cleaning, periodic cleaning as well. Periodically sanitizing drains. We have really nice attachments for that I'll show you. Sanitizing small parts in our sanitation chamber, which is basically a sanitizing COP tank with steam. Cleaning niches and sandwich joints that are just difficult to get the water hose into. We could use a steamer, around equipment feet and different areas that, are just challenging to clean. Doing steam interventions and just reducing micro counts in hotspots and different areas that are challenging to clean in the plant, as well as helping with corrective action. We work with a lot of wet clean facilities that are produce, meat, poultry, dairy plants that will, if they do get a positive hit somewhere in their floors or, God forbid, their production equipment, they know that using the steamer to help in the corrective action is a value add. They're able to thermally kill microorganisms with targeted application of steam. And so that's a great tool in their arsenal as well. So those are all the applications. Let's talk about the benefits of dry steam cleaning. So first and foremost, we see improved sanitation results, improved visual cleanliness factory-wide, improved food safety and quality of products by keeping production surfaces cleaner and more sanitary, improved audit scores just from having a cleaner factory in general and getting to those hard-to-reach spots that right now might be very challenging to clean, helping the facility to secure more business through improved customer walkthroughs. Facilities look clean, you have a much better chance of getting a co-packer or a third-party business. And then, of course, just improve morale in general. People come to a clean environment every day. They have a little bit more pride coming into work every day. So we definitely noticed that over the years. Improved human safety as well. A lot of sanitation tasks, especially in dry cleaning, are very manual. A lot of scraping and brushing, strain on things like shoulders and backs, and a lot of repetitive movement injuries. Using the steam helps to ease strain in many applications that are more challenging. So that reduces physical strain on operators from doing some of those challenging sanitation tasks. It also reduces exposure to cleaning chemicals like degreasers and other chemistry that the steam will kind of be a replacement for in the right applications. There are significant environmental benefits as well. We see all the time, companies pledging to reduce their environmental footprint, and this is a fantastic way to align with those goals at a lot of the larger organizations that are looking to accomplish that. We could using only 7 gallons of water per hour when we use the steamer versus 10 to 15 gallons a minute on a water hose. It's a significant 99% water reduction. There's no wastewater either, and a lot of times we'll eliminate cleaning chemicals as well. Now, it really can only be done in specific applications, and that's something that Goodway can consult with you on. Reducing labor. That's one of the biggest challenges we see in the industry right now. We find that dry steam cleaning in the right applications can be much more effective than other methods. We're able to dissolve heavy soils a lot faster and cut cleaning times by 50% or even a lot more on the right applications. Of course, we also reduce cleaning and changeover times. We reduce those changeover times, allowing for extended production, also allowing for additional smaller production runs to be run on lines. If we could change over the line faster, now we could start thinking about running some of those smaller SKUs in-house and getting some of those things done that maybe we couldn't have thought about in the past. And improving production equipment reliability. If we could do a better job cleaning equipment, it runs better. And we've worked with a lot of customers that have told us that their production equipment reliability has gone up significantly as they've had less downtime just through improved cleaning of things like air cylinders, conveyor belts, motors, and just reducing wear and tear on components over time. We also eliminate, since we do a dry cleaning with this technology, we eliminate downtime due to water ingress on motors and conduit and control panels. So we see less production issues from water damage as well. So we really fire on a lot of cylinders when we implement dry steam into a sanitation program. So here are some pictures of some of the applications. So there in the top left, that's me cleaning a motor in a bakery. So we're cleaning the motor off with just a steamer and a scrub brush. It was a motor that hadn't been cleaned in many, many months and was all brown and gunked up, and that's what it looked like after. And of course, no damage whatsoever to the motor. Bottom left, we're just cleaning around some equipment footing that was, just kind of some tight areas that are difficult to clean. You can see the steam cuts right through that kind of buildup. It's almost like the more difficult an area is to clean, the better the steamer is to get into it. In the middle left, we have our floor spinning attachment I mentioned, which is very popular for floor cleaning now. And then we've got some more pictures over on the right-hand side of just the steamer getting into some niches and hard-to-reach areas. And then down on the bottom right, a steamer with a floor scraper helping to get some really heavy buildup, some dough buildup off of the floor in a bakery. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dave Culver. Dave, take it away.
Hey, awesome. Thank you very much, Evan. I do appreciate everybody letting me take a few moments just to talk about how Goodway and Hershey have been working together to improve our sanitation processes. So first, I would like to point out, right, Hershey has a number of brands across their Hershey candy family, right? And a lot of those brands do have, many, many varieties, right? Reese, Hershey, for example. So right now, greater than 96% of households in the U.S. are using Hershey products in some way, shape, or form. So really, no matter where you are in the U.S. or wherever you are around the world, the goodness of Hershey is going to be right there with you. We are never far away. And why is that important? What does that have to do with what we're talking about today? Well, sanitation plays a very key role in that goodness of Hershey. So when a consumer goes to buy a Hershey product, they have that trust that that product is safe to eat with each and every bite, from the first bite to the last. So as Hershey, we need to make sure that we are meeting and exceeding this expectation of the customer, right? And sanitation is always the first step that we do in all of our processes. It's never what we do last at the end of a run. It's always what we do first. So therefore, sanitation absolutely must be right the first time, every time we do it. And that's where the teamwork between Goodway and Hershey has come into play, to where Goodway, technology, we've really been able to leverage their equipment to enable more effective sanitation processes. So we really appreciate what they've done and how they've helped our team so far. Right? And so what exactly have they been doing for us? So obviously they offer a number of different products, a number of different pieces of equipment for a lot of different needs. I'll be going through just a couple. So just some of their couple different models of their steam units, their floor spinners, belt cleaners, for example. And as Evan mentioned in his slides before about application for dry cleaning and the benefits around it, I do just want to share some of the things that we have seen personally, as Evan had mentioned. So first, observations, right? We all have areas of sites or in our house or somewhere that we've gone to where those detail cleans are, hard to reach areas where it catches our eye. We can really get into those with those steam units. So really, the visual improvements of a clean is much better, whether we're using it on equipment or infrastructure such as, the feet, equipment floors, diamond plating, motors, wherever we're using it, we can really see the visual improvement of what we're doing. From a savings perspective, there's actually two different types of savings that we've seen. So first is a time saving. So if we had a manual process and now we're using a piece of Goodway technology, we've seen an average of about a 6-hour reduction, which is obviously a significant improvement. And then from a labor perspective, from floor cleanings, we've reduced our labor from 3 people down to 1, utilizing the belt cleaning system. we've gone from 8 people down to 3, and then at the during end of production run changeovers. So during a regular production clean, right, we've reduced average 2 to 3 people per clean. So again, significant savings from time and from a labor perspective. And then also from an overall benefit, right, we're also seeing improved micro results across different zones. And then, as Evan mentioned, allergen cleaning, that has been a big thing for us as well, improved allergen cleaning. And so with that, we've been able to pass pre-ops and verifications from allergen, much more frequently, and we're becoming much more effective in our sanitation processes overall with this equipment. So the technology has been a very big win for us. From environmental cleaning, pick, pack, and time and labor savings. And we continue to really look forward to working with Goodway and the team, moving forward. So with that, Evan, I will pass it back to you.
Dave, thank you so much. Really powerful information here on the screen, and it's been amazing working with Hershey's and looking forward to continuing our good work together. Thanks so much, Dave. So let's keep it moving, guys. So the next I'd like to talk about our kind of our philosophy to product development and our application-driven steam cleaning technology. Everything on the screen that you're looking at right now has all been developed based on specific food plant customer applications. So everything from our automated conveyor belt cleaning systems over on the right, that we're going to get into a little bit more right now, to our floor spinner in the bottom center, our drain sanitizing attachment right to the left of that, our overhead pipe tools, and FDA-approved color-coded brushes. All of this has been designed and brought to market to meet the specific needs within food plants. And we're developing new, interesting attachments and different things to tackle new applications as we see them. We have a team of 6 guys that are out in food plants, every day, every other day, seeing the applications firsthand, and that's what drives all of our product development. Everything we make has specific applications in mind in the food industry. So here's some kind of accessory tools, an in-use shot. So here on the left, we've got our floor spinner, just a before and after of cleaning an epoxy floor with grit in a dry bakery where they make crackers. And you can see this is something that their floor scrubber was just not getting the job done because of all that grit on the floor. It wasn't able to get in between the cracks and crevices in between all those little grit particles. And the steamer just did a phenomenal job with the floor spinner. We've got our drain sanitizing tool that's designed to periodically sanitize drains. And that just basically heat treats drains on a bi-weekly or monthly basis to keep micro counts nice and low. It works really nicely for those problem drains that are older, maybe have some cracks or imperfections, or just for corrective actions or general sanitation. And we get our floor scraper tool in the bottom right. So these are some of our more popular attachments that have been in high demand lately. So now we're going to do a poll. So how important is it for you to automate sanitation? So please take a minute and fill out the poll, and then we're going to show the results in a sec. All right, so let's see. So we have About 36% extremely important, 26% very important, and then 36% neutral, which is kind of what I was expecting. Of course, nobody put low importance or not important at all, because I know sanitation automation is something everyone's looking at right now. So that's what I'd love to talk about next. So we've got, first thing I'm going to talk about is our portable brushless system. And this system is designed for cleaning flat, solid conveyor belt systems in confectionery and cookie cracker plants, anywhere you're doing enrobed products or granola bars, protein bars that have cooling tunnels and long fabric belts to clean. This is a system that completely automates the cleaning of those belts. In one pass through the belt cleaner, we apply dry steam to melt everything that's on the belt, immediately follow it with vacuum extraction. So when it gets through the belt cleaning system, the belt comes through clean, 100% dry. We introduce no moisture whatsoever, allergen-free, and we'll pass ATP after one pass. So it's a really powerful, effective cleaning system that works very quickly for cleaning sanitation. We have a portable version that you could take around throughout the factory and you clean many belts with. And it's really best for cooling tunnels, and it's a totally dry clean solution. Doesn't introduce any moisture, any micro load into the environment whatsoever. So using this technology, we're able to see significant savings. So, we're able to clean long cooling tunnel belts to an allergen clean level. So this is a testimonial. So in the past, the customer would do semi-dry cleaning with chemicals, a lot of scrub buckets, a lot of buckets of rinse water and soapy water, hot water, and just kind of a lot of, rinsing and wiping with those buckets and sponges and rags. And they went away from that to using our brushless system, portable brushless system. Not only did they validate consistent 100% removal of almond proteins, there's no need to re-clean the belts if that's an allergen swab. They also saw significant labor savings, and of course this labor was allocated in other areas of the facility, but this particular cleaning task was able to be accomplished much, much faster. So they saw in this application a labor savings that would amount somewhere around $79,000, as well as a much faster cleaning that allowed them to produce additional product, 5 additional shifts of product every month. So significant savings on labor. They're able to change those lines over much faster and increase production significantly. So some of the benefits of the brushless belt cleaner. Food safety, it introduces no moisture into the environment. Belts are left completely dry. We also reduce microorganism counts through that heat transfer to the belt surface. It's really effective cleaning. After one pass through the belt cleaner, we'll get 0 ATP, negative allergen. For human safety, you can imagine a lot of circular movements with rags and brushes, a lot of strain on operators' backs. So we're able to get away from all that, reduce up-close exposure to the cleaning chemistry that customers use. It's consistent. The automation doesn't miss a spot. It gets 100% of the belt surface cleaned every time, so there's no re-cleaning needed. There's, of course, labor savings. This is totally automated and hands-free. You saw earlier David shared some of those. They were able to take it from 8 operators cleaning the belt to 3. So significant labor savings that you could shuffle around and have people get to those tasks in the facility that maybe aren't getting cleaned right now. And we could also increase production uptime and throughput at the factory. Reducing sanitation and changeover times allows for increased production capability and flexibility. So, what if we can clean these belts during production? That was a question we got many years ago. We love the brushless system, but I would love to be able to run it during production, keep my belts clean, and limit buildup on things like rollers and guide rails and sprockets. Could we do that? And the answer is yes. Yes, we can. So we have the same version of our portable brushless in a fixed version that mounts to the bottom of the conveyor. And it looks just like this on the bottom right. We install a frame underneath the conveyor So as the belt comes around the nose bar, we steam clean it, extract all the moisture through vacuum, and belt comes through clean and dry. And if we do that, the soil on the belt doesn't transfer to any of the rollers further down the line. So we're able to continuously clean during production, keeping the belt surface 0 ATP allergen free. We prevent the soiling of rollers and the other structure on the line, which significantly reduces the downtime required for sanitation and changeovers. If we keep all our rollers clean, that's half the battle right there. So that significantly reduces the amount of downtime we need at the end of the production run. We introduce no water at all into the environment, totally dry clean. We increase production line flexibility. For continuously removing allergens from the belt, we could change over lines so much faster and run different allergens on the same line with less of an impact, especially if they're applied right before the cooling tunnel, things like milk from the road products, total milk. We can produce a greater variety of products in the same time period just by keeping belts nice and clean. We shorten sanitation changeover times. We're able to get more product out the door. It really gives a unique competitive advantage to factories that install it. I've seen production numbers just go through the roof, and the amount of products they're able to make from a SKU perspective, it just increases. You're able to do smaller production runs. It really gives the factories we put the system into kind of a unique advantage over other similar factories. Also allows more time for production and less time needed for changeover and sanitation. It's always the goal. How can we produce more while maintaining quality food safety standards? And this system right here is a way you can do that consistently and can make a real positive impact for your business. So next, I'd like to talk about cleaning open mesh belting. We have another system. It's also an attachment for the steam unit that's designed to clean open mesh modular belting, both plastic, metal wire, anything with open holes in it. This is a little bit more specific to dry bakeries. So this is really for dry bakeries, ingredients facilities, where we need to do a dry cleaning on these belts. We don't want to introduce any moisture into the environment. This system will automatically clean belts right in place. You don't have to remove them from the line. It cleans them, reduces yeast and mold counts on the belt just from that heat transfer applied to the surface. It leaves a completely dry environment and introduces no micro load, and that little tiny bit of moisture from the steam also weighs down any dust or debris that's on the belt, any yeast and mold. Nothing becomes airborne, and everything ends up in a nice, neat pile down on the floor. So it's a really tremendous technology for bread and bun bakeries and other clients that need to do dry cleaning of their open mesh conveyor belts. So it's designed for cleaning mesh conveyor belt systems. One system can do all the belts in the factory. It's portable. The width on it's adjustable. You can take it from one belt to the next. We have a programmable cleaning pattern, so you could save up to 20 programs, one for each belt you want to clean in the factory. And so it's very easy to set up once you do it the first time. It removes dry debris, soils, oil, and then reduces mold and bacteria counts. And it also leaves surfaces immediately dry and ready for production. It's a totally dry clean solution. So let's look at a testimonial from a bread bakery that uses this system in their spiral coolers. So in the past, they just kind of use a pressure washer, one guy with a pressure washer, two other employees managing the wastewater with squeegees and pushing it to the drain that's, of course, slopes in the wrong direction. So they got away from that and started using our jet system. And I'm going to show you, so they were able to remove 17 pounds of crumbs and other solids from the spiral that usually would have went into the wastewater stream. Previously, they would run the cooler for 5 hours to wash it, make sure they rinse it, blow dry it, because, otherwise it would take 7-8 hours just to dry the spiral. So 5 hours spent washing, rinsing, blow drying it with an air knife, and then having maintenance come in to re-oil. This is a metal chain conveyor, to re-oil the inner chain after the wet wash, just to make sure that the spiral ran correctly. Then they would also require an additional 2 hours of setup, bagging motors and other sensitive areas on the line, and then clean up, squeegeeing all that water and all that at the end of the cleaning process. So with the jet system, they're able to get away from all that, and with just 2 cycles of running the spiral, 1 hour each, 1 hour cycle time, for a total of 2 hours of total cleaning time, including the setup and post cleanup. They were able to get the belt clean, reduce their cleaning time from 10 hours down to 2 hours, and reduce their labor spent cleaning the belt from 14 hours down to 6 hours. Just need a lot less people managing all that wastewater, standing there with the pressure washer. This is a much better solution for the bakery. And of course, no wastewater no water went down the drain at all. They used no chemicals in the cleaning process and consumed only 14 gallons of water. So it was a very environmentally sustainable cleaning versus the wet washing they were doing as well. So about a 99% reduction in water consumption and, of course, 100% reduction in wastewater. Here's just another look at the jet system. We've got 4 spinning nozzles that oscillate back and forth across the belt and blow those breadcrumbs down onto the floor. So here's my contact information. If anyone has any questions at all, would like to discuss applications in your facility, please give me a call anytime. I'd love to consult with you and help you as much as I can. We do offer free on-site consultations, walkthroughs, demonstrations of the equipment, and we'd love to partner you and help your facility to improve sanitation. So thanks so much. With that, I'm going to hand it back over to Dave.
Okay, then. Thank you, Evan. And David, too. I think we have time for a few questions, and some of you apparently have already discovered that Ask a Question box on the left side of your screen, but you may still type the question in there, and we'll attempt to answer it in the time remaining. Now, here's a question that has already come through. Is dry steam safe to use to clean robotics?
So that's a great question, and we're getting that question more and more as a lot of facilities look to automate packaging and handling in the back end. So yeah, dry steam is actually an excellent choice for cleaning robotics. It won't damage any of the robotic equipment, and it's totally safe to use around the robot arms and all the electrical wiring, pneumatic tubing that are on those, and it won't damage them whatsoever. We do stay away from 2 things. Any electronic touchscreen that gives you a readout, we don't steam clean those, and electrical outlets we also stay away from. So we kind of stay away from those areas, but cleaning robotics in general is an excellent application for steam cleaning, and we have a lot of customers using the technology for that exact application. So yeah, totally safe.
Can the belt cleaning systems clean during production?
Yeah. So as I showed you guys that fixed brushless belt cleaning system can clean during production. So great question. It can clean during production and eliminate the amount of buildup that's accumulates on the belts and on the equipment. So yes, absolutely can clean belts during production.
And here's a related question. How many passes does it take to clean a belt?
So that's all relative. Typically, if the belt's moving at a decent speed, we could get 100% clean and dry in 1 pass. It's a very heavy soil load. Maybe there's no scraper installed on a fabric belt to do any pre-cleaning. And the worst I've ever seen is 2 or 3 passes, but 95% of applications, it's a 1-pass cleaning.
Okay. And another question. Someone says, we process tahini in our facility. How can we do sanitation properly for such an oily material? Also, great question. It all depends on the type of equipment, where it is in the process. The temperature from the steam will help to break down the fats in the oil. So we use it a lot I've worked with some hummus facilities and different plants that are using this very successfully. Some very heavy areas, we might need some help from chemistry, maybe a chlorinated alkaline to help us break through some of those fats. But the steam could be a very nice addition
additional step in the cleaning process, especially around filling and packaging areas on your tahini line. So we'd love to help you with that. Just give me a call anytime or send me an email, and we can get one of our sanitation experts out to your factory.
Okay. What are the employees' safety concerns when utilizing steam cleaning equipment?
So great question. And this is one I should have gone over in my slides, so shame on me. But using dry steam versus using a wet steam, it's much, much safer. Because it's a low moisture, and moisture is what transfers heat. It's not like your live plant steam that you see in a factory where, you'd have to have a full burn suit and, it can melt melt stuff off. It's very safe to work with. The PPE we do recommend is safety glasses, in case whatever you're cleaning splashes back towards your eyes, hearing protection, just regular earplugs, and some light heat-resistant gloves, leather gloves. But as long as you have your PPE on, it's very safe to work with. There's no kickback or recoil at all with the cleaning done. So it's something your team can work with all day long and not get tired of using it. So it's a very safe piece of equipment, and I could come demonstrate that for you and your team on site. Thank you for the question.
Well, you mentioned moist heat versus dry heat. Beatrice has a related question. First of all, do you agree with this premise, Evan? Moist heat is being demonstrated as being more effective at killing microorganisms than dry heat. Number one, do you agree with that premise? So if you do, is the dry steam still considered moist in this context?
Yeah, I absolutely do agree with that. So, there a lot of studies done, a lot of customers have found this out where, for example, if you use wet steam to sanitize something like a meat slicer, and we wrap it in plastic and inject wet steam, we could sanitize it about 8 times faster than using just dry heat by putting that same slicer into a smokehouse or something like that would just heat it up with dry heat. So I definitely agree that moist heat is more effective at killing microorganisms versus dry heat. So dry steam falls somewhere in between. It's not quite wet steam, but it's also not dry. So the effectiveness in killing microorganisms is in between. We always, unless you're able to use our machine to heat the surface temperature up for a specific amount of time, we always recommend to follow up with a sanitizer just to be safe. But the dry steam is very effective when used properly at killing microorganisms. So that's something I can get into with you and kind of look at some of your more specific applications and explain how that would apply in your factory. Kind of a very general thing, but we can apply that more specifically to what you're up against, Beatrice. Thank you for the question.
Yeah, for all these questions, if you want to have a dialogue directly with Evan, we've still left his email address up there on the screen for you. Anyway, next question. And I think, you may have answered this one during your presentation. Does dry steam help to remove allergens?
Yes, absolutely. So we've worked with many of our customers. The brushless system especially does a phenomenal job because it'll actually loosen up and then remove the allergens. But we have many customers that are using it to help with their allergen cleaning, especially if they can't do a wash down. If it's a wash down application, you always get a faster cleaning that way. But if it's a dry area and we want to limit the amount of water, or we can't use water, using a dry steam cleaner it just helps tremendously in allergen cleaning. So yeah, absolutely.
And Tyler asks, so the spiral cooler example showed that the conveyor doesn't need to be re-oiled. Doesn't the steam clean off the lubricant on the chain?
Yeah, so great question, Tyler. So typically that lubricant's only on either the inner or outer chain of the conveyor. We can control the cleaning pattern of the steam. So it's just over the areas we want to steam clean. And we could program it so it doesn't hit the corner where that lubricant is. So yeah, 100% don't need to re-oil chains if they're only on the inner drive or on the outer chain. So that's definitely something it's very controlled cleaning, and you can get away from re-oiling conveyors because of that.
Okay. Now, you answered this, I think it was the very first question, but it might be worth repeating or maybe expanding your answer. What are the limitations of this technology? What kinds of equipment or product matrices should steam not be used on?
So typically, if we're doing a large-scale washdown in a wet clean facility, meat and poultry, dairy, produce, it's not meant to replace a full washdown in that type of environment if it's washdown capable equipment. So in the wet clean side of things, we typically focus more on the water sensitive equipment and the niches and other things, your heat treating equipment periodically. Not really a substitute for wet cleaning in those industries. So that would be a limitation there, that we probably wouldn't want to use a steamer. But other than that, it's a very versatile piece of equipment that could really, every food plant could benefit from it in one way or another.
Will dry steam damage mesh belts?
Well, great question. So we've done a lot of compatibility testing with manufacturers of plastic modular belting. And we have approvals from Intralox and Habasit, and dry steam is totally safe to use on the conveyor belts. I could send you some studies that we've done on that, some white papers, but it's totally safe, won't damage plastic modular belting at all.
Okay, and someone asks, they're kind of sentence fragments. No, there's no water in the liquid phase. No water in the liquid phase is added, but what about condensation? Is there condensation from this process?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's like I mentioned, 5% moisture. So you get a small amount of condensation. Typically what we do is always have a rag with us, and we clean equipment like we would in a wet wash. We follow the same principles. We clean top down, left, right, push all the soils and residual moisture off to a corner. And then we just take our rag and wipe up that little spot on the floor where we might have a few drips. So it is called dry steam in air quotes, but it's a low moisture steam. But it's very minimal, very, very minimal.
Okay. I'm going to try to paraphrase this one a bit. Oops, I lost it. We'll go with this one. Is the picture of the fixed belt cleaner retrofitted onto an existing line, or is it purchased that way with the belt?
Oh, it's a great question. So that particular picture was retrofitted onto an existing line. So we have a team of design engineers that pretty much can install one of these wherever they want to. So as long as we can come on site to take dimensions, take measurements of the conveyor framework, take a few photos for our engineering team, we can typically custom engineer something to fit just about every conveyor system. Now we are working more and more with OEMs of some of the cooling tunnels and different production equipment in order to install some of our technology on the front end, as the customer is going through the design and purchase process of the equipment. So it's delivered to the site with our equipment already on it. And so that's something we're actively working on with several OEMs, really excited about that new venture. So yeah, we can put these systems onto existing equipment that's been there for years, or on new equipment that is being purchased.
Okay, then. Well, we've gone our 50 minutes already, so that's all the time we have today. We will be sending you all an email shortly with instructions on how to download the slides from today's webinar. We also will let you know when this webinar is available for on-demand viewing, probably within 24 hours. By the way, we have a new feature. Even if you or coworkers watch this webinar on demand, if you type a question into the Q&A box, we will get it and we'll forward it to the appropriate speaker for on-demand answering. And the next screen will be an exit survey that we hope you will take. But that will do it for us. This webinar is over, and thank you all for tuning in today.